So is that something, your chronotype, could that change? I mean, compared to when you're a child and when you're getting older? Because I do wake up earlier now than I did like 25 years ago.
Right. So we have what's called chronolongevity. So believe it or not, every person on Earth goes through the three main chronotypes throughout their lifetime. So when you're a baby, you're an early bird. You go to bed at 7:30 at night. You wake up at 4:30 in the morning, right? When you're a toddler, you're in the middle, what I call a bear, right? So you go to bed around 7:30, you wake up around 7:30. What happens when you're a teenager? You're a night owl, right? Remember when you were a teenager, what did you want to do? Stay up and play video games until 2 o'clock in the morning and sleep until 2 o'clock on Saturdays. Once you hit about 2025, then it kind of locks and loads and stays that way for about 35, 40 years. Then it changes again. So if you ever go out, like let's say you call up your parents or your grandparents and you say, hey, let's go to dinner. You know what they usually say? Great, I'll meet you at 5 o'clock. You're like, Grandma, I don't eat dinner at 5 o'clock. But she does because her chronotype is pushing her early again. So we see this happen throughout the lifetime. And if you know where you are in your lifespan, where your chronotype is, and you can match your activities to your chronotype, everything gets easier.
You know, Spain has another problem in addition to what you said, and that's that Spain is actually in the wrong time zone. So Spain should be in the same time zone as Great Britain, Portugal, and Morocco. But we are in a time zone more to the center of Europe. Germany, France, Switzerland, even Austria. No? Austria is a lot more to the east. So that is a problem. That's why Spaniards eat dinner at 11 o'clock, you know? That's crazy.
We might even look at, for some people, you might even look at what are you eating for dinner? So if you're going to have dinner at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, right? What should that meal look like? A, to get good sleep, but B, to not gain a lot of weight.
So do we all have the same sleep needs, or is sleep individual?
It is individual. And I would also argue that it's different male versus female, right? So for example, when women have a menstrual cycle, they have different sleep needs, even throughout the 30 days. I have some women who require more sleep before their period and less sleep after their period. And so 8 hours wouldn't make sense for them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Also, when I look at my patients who are 25 versus my patients who are 55, right? They have different needs in terms of their sleep. So you really want to kind of try to dial in to your personal sleep needs. So the next question is, Michael, how do we do that? Okay, easy. Number one, if you learn one thing from this podcast, only one thing, this is the thing to remember. Wake up at the same time 7 days a week. Don't sleep in on Saturday or Sunday. Same time, 7. Let me explain the biology and why this is so important. So our core body temperature rises until about 10:30 at night. And then it hits a high point and it begins to drop. That drop is a signal to our brain to release melatonin, okay? So our core body temperature drops throughout the night. It eventually turns up and we wake up in the morning time. When we wake up in the morning and our eyes open up, light hits our eyes and has a very special cell in our eyes called a melanopsin cell. This turns off the melatonin faucet in your brain, okay? That's important. But something else happens that not a lot of people know about. Your brain sets a timer for 14 hours later to start melatonin production again. This is the most critical thing that everybody needs to understand. So 14 hours from the time you wake up is when melatonin restarts. So if the time you wake up is variable, so does your melatonin production. So if you're waking up at 6 a.m., your melatonin production starts at 8 p.m., takes 90 minutes for it to kick into gear, 9:30 you start to get tired, 10 o'clock you go to bed. But if you wake up instead of at 6 a.m. at 8 a.m., melatonin doesn't kick off at 8 that night, it kicks off at 10 that night. So the timing of your melatonin production is directly related to when you wake up.
In the morning, okay.
In the morning, exactly.
That's so interesting.
If you want to do one thing to help your sleep at night, get up same time, 7 days a week. And This also helps with consistency. And if you can do it based on your chronotype, you get all the efficiencies plus the consistencies. And that's really what we're looking for.
Want to learn more about sleep science? Check out Dr. Michael Breus's full interview. And if you're curious, dive into the other episodes too. Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments.